I don't know why I do this to myself all the time, but I always put myself in traffic, always, without fail. I mean, it's not like the worst traffic you could ever get into, but such is my life. So today I will be talking about something I saw on Tumblr, which is probably like the last thing that I should be worrying about right now. I mean, it's Tumblr, anybody can join, within the guidelines, of course, but you know, anybody. So, I saw this thing, and it was a picture of a soldier who was kissing a woman who was pregnant, and he was like, you know, obviously kissing the unborn baby, and there was a comment underneath it, and it was just basically, it was this long-winded comment about how we should not be glorifying soldiers, and they only use the army too, and I was like, oh, y'all ignorant as all hell. But they were just talking about how, you know, we shouldn't glorify the army and people in the army, and, you know, it's stupid to call them heroes, and this war, they're just drones, and it's their fault for getting PTSD. Which, you know, obviously it had a lot of heavy statements. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with this war, but I know that not everybody who goes into it with the mindset of wanting or knowing that they're going to get PTSD. I know that a lot of people go in and are trying to support their families. They're trying to find another way, an accessible way to support their families. And oftentimes what you find is that people in at or below the poverty line, one of the most accessible ways to get yourself out of that is to go into the military. It's the system of oppression. It is what it is. And these people who, you know, their families might not even be able to work to afford money and might not be eligible for food stamps, and they go into the military. This is how they survive, and seeing somebody so narrow-minded like this, who doesn't understand that the military might not be a choice, the military might be an only option, because maybe that minimum wage job, because they can't afford an education, won't pay for their whole family to eat, to live, to survive, etc., etc. And I think that it's a very, very narrow-minded view. The army is not compromised of middle-class citizens trying to get out of their small towns or whatever. There's a lot. It's a mixed bag, and you oftentimes find people who didn't have an option, who needed to go this route because the military has purposely made itself accessible. It's the point of capitalism to keep the proletariat, the working force. Okay, and I'm not going to turn this into a whole capitalism, Marxist theory, communism, socialism, however you want to look at it, but capitalism and poverty are social constructs, okay? And a lot of people don't have many other options to get out of that lower socioeconomic stratum. It very much upset me, this narrow-minded view. You could just tell it was a person of privilege and somebody who didn't have to worry about where their meal was coming from, somebody who didn't have to worry about things like that. So when I see pictures of, you know, a pregnant wife and a man kissing her tummy, all I can think of is, what if she is surviving off of his paycheck and that's the only way she can survive? I mean, what if she can't go and get a job? She's fortunate, he's fortunate, and they're fortunate to have the military. Do I think it's the best way? Do I think it's the right way? Do I think that education should be more accessible and higher paying jobs should be more accessible? Absolutely. Do I think there needs to be immigration reform? Absolutely. I mean, there's just many different things. But with the way, working with the game and the rules that we have set in front of us, you're gonna have to understand that not everybody is just going to be able to say, hey, I hate this poverty, let me get out of here. Go to school, get my education, and just work my way up. We have this idea in the US that we're misentitled millionaires. That if we work hard enough, we'll get there, which is often not the case. And basically, the idea is that you can't just, a lot of people have this view that you know, why don't people in the ghetto just move out the ghetto? It don't work that way. It's never worked that way. You can't build if you have nothing. You can't build a home from solely a hammer. Okay, and to keep that hammer, the interesting thing is that in this country, to keep that hammer, you're gonna have to pay taxes. You're gonna have to make sure that it has this, and that, and you know, it just to work alone to keep that hammer is a lot. And then expecting to build a house with that hammer for a lot of different people is a goal and a concept that is almost unfathomable. And so yeah, that's my Tumblr rant. That's my VEDA day 3. I've always loved people that do it like this. This is my favorite. I wanna get into that, but I've always been like this, and it hurts too, so I don't know why. If you have any thoughts on the idea of oppression, social construct, capitalism, please let me know. I'm always open to it. If you get heated about Tumblr, let me know. I don't usually get heated, but just today I did, and I'm gonna leave the actual comments in the description so everybody can look at that. Thank you for watching my beta. I hope you're enjoying it. Day 3. This is Brandy, signing out.